Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sound Bath Sundays. Oh, where's Harry? I left Harry over there. Interesting. Um, so happy to be here. As always, I am going to have some celebrations soon. Stacia, Michael, welcome. I am so happy that you are here. It gives me the truth bumps every time I see your beautiful faces come on, and you guys are my jet fuel for keeping on. And today, oh, thank you, and the hearts. Oh my gosh. So interesting. Today, we're going to talk about the elevating power of words. And last week we talked about the power of love, right? We're moving from an era of light. And Nina Sherrick, welcome. I love seeing the names pop up. And you know what? Sometimes it's frustrating because some of the names don't pop up. And then later I see that you guys were there and I'm like, how did I not see you? So if I'm not acknowledging you, I am so sorry. It means I haven't seen you pop up on my little screen here. But anyway, we talked about how we were moving from an era of light, the light workers, right? Hold on, let me fix this. And absolutely, words create worlds. Nina is telling us and sharing with us. Absolutely. And what kind of world do we want to create? So we're moving from the era of light into the era, my favorite, love. And I have come in contact with so many amazing people who are working on behalf of all humanity and doing stuff behind the scenes that we can't even imagine that is going on, but it is. And they are doing tremendous, wonderful, uplifting work for all of us. So last week, I had someone ask me a question, and you'll know who you are when you hear this, but they were asking me how to clear ancestral patterns. And see, with my sound healing, that is part of what the sound healing does. That's part of what you can use sound for. Sound is an amazing, unexplored yet completely. It's like going to Antarctica and say you've been to Antarctica, but really you haven't really lived in Antarctica or known the whatever is there, right? You just go like a tourist. And in a way, I feel a little bit like that. Like I'm exploring sound, and the deeper I go into the study of it, the more in awe I find myself, because the magnitude of what we can accomplish with sound, with frequency, with vibration is just, something that we haven't even experienced or seen in our lifetime. And I don't say those words lightly. So they were asking me, well, I want to clear everything that came before me so that I am free. And here is what my reply was, and this is based solely on my experience. It's my opinion. Like I say, you might find that this is conflicting with what you believe, and that's fine. It is just simply to make us all think of it maybe a different way, an easier way of dealing with our lives and moving on and actually accomplishing what we came here to accomplish. Because I believe in my heart of hearts that each one of us has a mission or a plan or something to fulfill, even if it's just sitting in stillness and sending love out. I don't know. It's like we all have that knowing inside of us, and the quicker we connect to that part of ourselves and we put ourselves out there, the sooner we can create all this change that is meant to happen. And the more we can accelerate the process and compress time, right? Compress the timeline and make it happen before it's scheduled. And that is my goal. So what my reply was is I had a period in my life when I was a hermit. I literally would go to work into a recording booth and would come right back home and not talk to anyone except maybe twice a week. I'd talk with my neighbor in real life, like physically. And I did talk to my mom every day, and a couple of friends that I would talk with regularly. But in general, the majority of the time I spent in solitude. I even went as far as locking myself in the closet in the dark for some time because I wanted to experience what that would be like, being in a cave. Some people go and lock themselves in a cave, right? And so I wanted to experience that. I mean, I walk around my house with things over my eyes so I can just awaken my skin, because I know we can see through our skin. So I'll wear the mask and walk around to sense and activate the sensors in my skin. I will do like crazy stuff like that, right? And I went through a period of 1 year doing what's called a recapitulation. It's part of the Toltec way. If you've ever read Don Miguel Ruiz, The Four Agreements, he had a student who actually wrote this book, The Toltec Way. And if you follow the steps, it guides you through a recapitulation. So I did that for an entire year. I have my notebooks. I still have them with all my journaling and everything. I literally went through every period of my life, starting from the first ever memory I had, and went through every single thing. Would I do it again? Not a chance. Not a chance. It did help me get to where I am now, and it's part of me. But as the energies we are experiencing right now coming into the planet are really helping us elevate without so much efforting, without so much angst, without having to experience and relive our pain over and over and over again. Because that, and I explained that in both my courses, Coming Home to You and The Warrior in You. It's part of what I share, that there's a mind-body monitoring system, and a lot of our behavior, believe it or not, it is imprinted. It is something unconscious that we do, but it is related to our physiology and to the hormones running in our body. So we get used to having a certain cocktail running in our blood, and then when we don't have it, we send a signal. So we look for, there's a process, right? And we look for situations that will make our body release this cocktail into our bloodstream. And there are ways of changing that. There are ways of letting go of things that have been imprinted in your cells, like sound can get rid of stuff without you having to go through all that pain. And believe me, I am the queen. I used to be, and the powers are so powerful, right? I used to be literally the queen of no pain, no gain. I thought I had to put in the effort, put in the suffering, put in everything, the struggle, the everything, in order to get my reward. And as life went along and I got my kids, that we all do, right? I started understanding that I didn't have to go through all that pain. I didn't have to go through all that suffering. And if I took my focus of things that I didn't want and put them on the things that I did, there would be, just with that, a massive transformation happened in my life. Now, I realized, I notice a lot of my patterns now. But aren't there patterns that we don't notice? For example, I know people that would tell me, "Oh, you're just like your mom, you're just like your dad." And I'd be like, "I don't know what they're talking about. I am not like my parents. I am so different." And then I'd see my parents doing something and I'd be like, "Whew, I do that. I'm just like that." And then it's the things that you don't know, right? So that was part of the things that I didn't know. The more I'm open in my heart and my mind and just my entire body to receiving different guidance, to seeing different aspects of myself that perhaps other people can see because they're on the outside, it's easier, and open to seeing them, not be attached to them, and then releasing them, then it has become a lot easier for me to progress on my path. So some of us feel that we have to release all these things because they're an anchor before we can move on. That is true as well. But I believe that we don't have to suffer through it. So the energies that are showing up right now are literally supporting us in creating a new paradigm for our lives, a new reality, I don't know if you've noticed the speed at which your thoughts start to show up in 3D. Like if you think of someone, how quickly does that person call you back without you calling them, right? If you think of them and then they call you, or you run into them, or you, I'm just the more, excuse me, a frog in my throat. The more I get better at asking questions, and the more I get better at asking better questions, I'm getting a better quality of replies in my life. And sometimes I can't hear the replies. Sometimes I have not yet mastered the art of detachment. So this detachment is very tied to the subject of today, which is the elevating power of words. Because, for example, if we had a pallet of bricks and we were going to build a structure, would we need to consider where the bricks came from? Would we need to consider who thought of making the bricks in the first place? Would we need to consider how they got built, if there was, what kind of work there was, what kind of thought process? No, we have our pallet of bricks and we can build our structure straight through without going through all that process. In the same way, we can still build our beautiful creations in our life without having to go through that process. Now, if something happens that activates or triggers some part of us to come out that we must clear, yes, by all means. It's like they're showing up right now. I don't know if you guys have had a little bit of Groundhog Day going on right now. And if you've noticed that things that are showing up, you've happened to have gone through them in the past. Sometimes it's a case of different phase, same issue. And sometimes it is a case of same face, same issue, just like repeating with the same person over and over again. And so when that starts to show up right now, it is coming up so that we can actually clear it. Now, words like knives, like sound, like nuclear energy, like everything that we have, hey, Julia, Mari, can be used for elevating, and they can be used for obliterating and destroying. So how do we use our words every day? How do we use our words with ourselves? I usually say that if anyone spoke to me the way I speak to me sometimes, I would kick their ass and never speak to them again. But, I can't beat myself up and never speak to me again. So I have to learn to be kinder to myself, to be more forgiving, to be more generous. And how easy is it to have that with other people and not include ourselves? Last 2 weeks ago, we did that tassel, right? Pulling and including ourselves. Well, in the same way, how do we speak to ourselves? If we have a mental chatter that's going, oh, you can't do this, or all these things that are blocking us, how can we just start using better language, nicer language, kinder words? And I feel like I'm in kindergarten with myself sometimes. It's like, let's use kind words. It's like, let's not be so mean to ourselves. But also, how many of us, and because I know that I have a very large community, not only of entrepreneurs, but of healers in my life, how many of us have been little Santa's helpers? Right? How many of us are wanting to help others? How many of us are or giving our help when it's not being requested? And how our words impact the people that we use these words on can have huge consequences. For example, so I've been one to just always try to help. I always have a solution, a creative solution to every problem. And sometimes I'm not requested to do that, and I'm not required to do that. So learning to put myself in my own place, in my own little path, because we all have our unique individual pathways. And this is something that I learned through one of my journeys, was that I finally understood that I am not, like, I literally understood in every cell of my body that I'm not responsible for anybody else's life, including that of my own child, whom I gave birth to, because we feel still connected, right? There's that energetic connection. There's that. And then I felt responsible for everything she did, everything she didn't do. If she behaved, it reflected on me. Everything she did was like a reflection of my capacity, by the same token, how good I did. But I was usually more chastising of myself when things didn't go like I thought in my head things should go. And so I kept giving unrequested opinions and help. And finally, I learned through a lot of practice to allow the person to go through what they had to go through. And I know that can be really painful to watch, right? It's like that emperor with the butterfly. He's seeing the butterfly struggle through the cocoon trying to come out, and he's like, he can't take it anymore. He cuts the cocoon open and leaves the butterfly maimed, incapacitated, never able to fly. Why? Because as the butterfly goes through a little tiny opening in the cocoon, the fluid in the body goes through the little tubules of their wings and gives the wings their rigidity. And if they don't squeeze the fluid through so that they get to the very tippy end, the wings will never get ready to fly. So that he ended up with a really wrinkled wings that were never able to take off. So how do we do that? How do we do that to people? Are we elevating them? Are we finding what is working? Are we finding what contribution they are? Are we finding what contribution we are? And I tell you, when we begin to show up as the space for magic to happen, invariably, it does. And I wish somebody would have told me when I was little that I had a magic wand and I could make amazing creations with my magic wand. And that is simply the power of my words. Now, Florence Scovel Shinn, in her book, Your Word is Your Wand, refers to so many examples of how we can elevate people, how we can make them, help them be be more sure of themselves, be more everything that we want for them, just by being the space for it, instead of continuously doling out criticism, continuously complaining or whining about someone to somebody else. I know I had that habit, and it's the habit. You talk about, you get together with friends and you talk about somebody else. I broke that habit with a friend about, it's going to be about 22 years ago, maybe more, where we made a conscious decision together that we wanted to remain friends. We had husbands that knew each other and that had work partners that knew each other, and they were more gossipy than we could ever be. But if anything that we said, we commented with our husbands, we knew that it was going to get around and people were going to find out about it. So we decided to do something that I don't usually do, which is and throw away the key. And we get together and we pray, and we get together, and if we have some issue, we are an accountability partner for each other, but we literally talk about what directly is affecting the situation in the most neutral way possible. And we catch each other and we correct each other, and we say, okay, no, you're okay, drop the story. We're good at telling each other to just drop the story, because the stories are what usually hold us back. And when we realize that we have a story regarding everything that's happening in our life, and we begin to let go, then our words get liberated, and we can be more sovereign and more in control of how we're using our words to edify or to destroy. So if we ask a question every morning, how can I use my words to edify anyone who comes in contact with me today? Imagine what kind of week or day you would have. So I invite you all to do that. Ask yourself questions in the morning, in the first 10, 15 minutes after you wake up. That is an incredible time for learning new things. That is an incredible time for going beyond the gatekeeper and reprogramming our minds, creating new habits. So if we ask amazing questions and we just release them into the universe, we let the universe bring us the answers, you will be amazed if you haven't tried it already. So the question for this week could be, how can I be more powerful with my words? How can I use my words in such a way that will bring my desired outcome instantaneously? Ooh, that's a cute one. I love that one. How can I be more present to the people that I come in contact with? How can I learn to use my words more efficiently? How can I learn to use less words to say more? How can I be more present energetically so I don't have to waste my saliva? How can I communicate better so that I don't feel the need to repeat myself 20 times in a different way and get creative in the way I communicate, because I'm feeling that people are not listening to me? And how can I let go of the need? That was a heavy one. Let's clear that one. And I help you all with that. Hoo-ha. How can we let go of the need to be heard? Because when we need something, we become icky, gluey, sticky. So we just allow things to happen. It is a totally different energy, right? So I invite you to, if you journal, if you like to do that, if you like to just write things down, ask different questions, just sit there and ask 20 questions and then pick one every morning and ask that question and allow the universe to surprise you. The more we connect to the power of our words, the more we connect to our heart center and our power center, right? There's a point in between our heart and our solar plexus in front of our spine. That is where our internal sun resides. So when we connect to that ray of sunshine before we say anything, it will help us know if we are just talking to say stuff, talking to hear ourselves speak, or speaking and making an impact. I know that you and you who are here listening to me are here to make an impact. So how can you laser focus your words to create the change in the world that we so much desire, which so much we feel like we desperately need, and yet by desperately needing it, we become part of the problem instead of part of the solution. So what if that loving, amazing Garden of Eden were already here? And all we had to do was elevate our vibration to be able to see it and understand it and live within it. What if it is already there and all we needed to do was elevate our frequency? And what if using our words, we could get there like this? I invite you to think about this week. And let me go get Harry. Let's get ready for our sound healing meditation, which is all about listening to our power, listening to our heart. Here's Harry. So place your feet flat on the floor. Hands, palms facing up on your thighs in a receiving position. And then notice if you're holding on to any stories. Imagine yourself putting them in a garbage bag and saying, okay, I'm going to leave you outside just for the meditation. And then if you want to pick it up on the way out, you can just go ahead. But I've never known anyone who wanted to go pick up their trash after letting it go. So now we're going to take 3 to 6 cleansing breaths. Let me just, I have this frog in my throat all morning. And truth, I didn't do my warm-ups. So, just kidding. There we go. Cleansing breath in through your nose. Hold for 1 or 2 counts, and then and when you do that sigh, do it from the heart, do it from here, from your gut. Let it go. Every worry, every false idea, concept, limitation, every thing that makes you feel stuck, trapped, attached. Connect to that and let it go. Every time you breathe, you let it go a little deeper, a little clearer. You start feeling lighter, connecting to that internal bliss, internal ray of sunshine that you are. To Udia Shutia Brady Later How can we be more present for ourselves, for our loved ones, everyone who we came here to make an impact on? Whenever you're ready, start wiggling your toes. Start coming back to a little stretch, to a little shake of the hands. Hola, Amaral. Take a deep cleansing breath in through your nose. Let it all go. And come back. How are you feeling? Are you feeling like you want to come back, or you want to just stay out there feeling good? Had a little creamy something in there. Anyway, I hope you're back. I feel your energies coming in. It's taking a little bit longer today. Thank you so much for being here today. It is my intention and my desire to see you thrive, see you claim your sovereignty, see you rise and helping others rise with you in love, in harmony, because that is what is required right now. You're welcome, Stacia. Hey, Sharon. It is required. Less judgment, more love, right? Sometimes we get that, I know I do, get it upside down, go more into judgment and less love. That hasn't worked really great. So remember, we all have our own path, all have our own learning to do. And when we just allow people and give ourselves permission to go our own path with our own experiences, and give others their own permission to do the same, life gets so much easier. I love you so much, and I will see you next week. Yay!